This video will show how Tyson and I understood and implemented GameSense as a teaching tool and how feedback from our first lesson shaped our second. We have highlighted 4 key learning intentions for our lessons with a local primary school. Students will be able to throw a ball accurately towards their intended target, even under pressure, and they will be able to catch a ball being thrown to them. They are the 2 skill-based outcomes we believe to be the most important in this lesson. Students working effectively in a team situation and understanding strategies utilised in handball and the related games are 2 effective and cognitive outcomes for our lesson. Our outcomes have been chosen as they best suit our lesson plan regarding skills, techniques and strategies. Student development in each skill and how their strategies advance throughout the lesson are the keys for us to evaluate if our learning outcomes were achieved. We went straight out into a warm-up game of spaceships. In spaceships, students were separated into 3 groups, each group having a different coloured hoop. All students then ran around a small area until a colour was called out. That colour became the taggers. Taggers ran around tagging the other colours until no one was left untagged. Upon being tagged, students would place their hoop at their feet and sit in. Our second game was a basic keepings off game. After splitting our 12 students in half to make 2 smaller games, one ran by myself, the other by Tyson, we then able to play 3v3 keepings off. Whichever 3 had the ball had to throw and catch the ball as many times as possible without being intercepted or dropping the ball. Building on keepings off, our third game was end zone. In end zone, the rules and concepts were the same as keepings off, only there was a hoop added at each end. To score in end zone, a student had to catch the ball inside the hoop. Our final game was the handball game. To start with, we remained in our small groups. Handball removed the hoops and added goals that needed the ball to be thrown through to score. After gaining a feel for the game, we brought the 2 groups together to play.
For games, keepings off, end zone and handball all focus on these. These games catered for the practice of throwing, catching and team. During the game, we'd stop the activity and bring students in to discuss the strategies they used during the game. We'd also ask questions around spacing, time and risk. This allowed students to understand the strategies used in handball. For teamwork, we made up several rules such as everyone must touch the ball before the team was allowed to score, and 5 passes completed resulted in 5 points. This allowed everyone to be involved in the activity regardless of their ability. To cater for different abilities, we modified the rules in all games to allow for each student to thrive, such as the distance between the person who had the ball and the defender, the size of the goals, the court size, and the number of passes having to be made before you're allowed to score. Using the GameSense approach proved very effectively. Showing students the understanding of the game while playing mini games worked well. Some advantages were it engaged students, improves understanding of time, risk and space, tactical awareness and maximising time on task. Some disadvantages we found were we assumed higher order thinking and with competition may discourage some students.
Feedback from our peer reviewers suggested that we utilise drills in our teaching. Our first lesson could be viewed as not really having learning outcomes to outside viewers. To counter and correct this, we introduced some drills into our second lesson to improve skills, but also for students to understand our lesson structure and how it works towards our lesson objectives. One drill involved throwing and catching in partners. As each throw was completed, students would take a step back. However, if a catch was dropped or a throw was missed, they returned to face each other. The intentions of this drill was to show students how longer throws are more difficult to execute. Individually, I learned that GameSense is a fantastic approach to utilise in a class. I found that it increased enjoyment and as a result, participation. Utilising GameSense in the future, I have to avoid the trap of only playing games as drills improve the skills and clarify lesson objectives to not only myself, but also to the students and to any peers or colleagues I have watching or helping me throughout the lesson.
From my experience as teaching micro primary, there was 2 things I learned. The first one was I assumed too much prior knowledge. I just assumed that a grade 3-4 class would be able to pass and catch effectively. For my future teaching, this means that I'll plan many more activities until I can find out the ability of all students. The second thing I learned is that the GameSense approach is a fantastic approach to use in a HP context. Using games to show student understanding proved effective. For the future, I need to ensure that it's not all just games. Drills need to be used to improve the skill